Now for the reason why I brought that in the house instead of waiting. This little cardboard box. Almost brand new. Oxyacetylene striker. That's funny, it looks very good, but there's no, yeah, completely used up. Gotta replace that. This cardboard box is what I was getting at. This was with this lathe specifically. It has what looks to me like a nice assortment of change gears. And interestingly enough, this puppy is in. This is a bevel gear. It looks like the bevel gear that, at first glance, it looks like this gear, which is what's inside my change box assembly, or whatever you want to call it. But look at that. It's got a different profile on the inside. It's got a, yeah, it does look like it's for a 5/8. What the heck's that go to? Won't work on this lathe, I don't think. Because, yeah, this little dog right here, this little doggy, you gonna bark all day, little doggy, or you gonna bite? Love that movie. Well, I tell you what, 9-49 is the part number stamped right on the inside of this. That sure sounds like an Atlas part number, or an old Atlas part. You know, this flecks of black paint remnants on here. That's another indication. Well, but we already figured it doesn't come from this lathe. Unless this is the gear that goes up like, no. This isn't the gear that transfers the drive from this side to this side. Why would it have this place for a yoke to go on to shift it? And a place for it to engage? Don't be silly, Steve. Alright, 9-49, we can look that up, figure out what that goes to. That's 5/8 inch lead screw. So if it's for a 10-inch lathe, it's for an early 10-inch, maybe. I don't know. Not going to worry about it. A lantern tool post and a tool holder, which by the looks of the number on it, 9-139, doesn't say Atlas on it. That sure looks like, again, that looks like an Atlas Craftsman type of part number deal, so I'm going to say that that's a straight tool holder that I believe is an original. How about this lantern tool post? I don't know where they put the part numbers on these. That other one I got that the guy said from eBay that it came off an Atlas, that wasn't marked either. The one on the right is the one that came from eBay. And the one on the left is the one I just found in my box of tricks. And they're identical. This one's got a much nicer base washer on it than this one. Tell you what's not in that box, a little rocker shaped piece that goes in the bottom. So I'm 0 for 2 on those. This one's the nicer of the two for two reasons. Not only does it have a nicer washer on the bottom here, but this is also, by the looks of it, the original T-slot nut. Whereas that just got a hunk of aluminum with a screw going up through it that somebody made. That's the keeper. That's the one, even if I put a quick change tool post on this lathe, that's the one I'll keep, so that if I decide to sell a lathe someday, I can put that with it. This is, like I said, I think this is an Atlas. This is the one that came from eBay. This clearly is marked Atlas tool holder, right-hand tool holder. This is the left-hand holder. Hey, that's marked with a number right there that looks like Atlas too. 9-139-L for left. So what do we got for originals? We got a straight, a right, and then we have a left that is an Atlas, but a different style. And then we've got this one here. This is the Ace tool holder. This is the straight one. Now I'll get rid of this one since I don't need it because I've got this Atlas straight holder. Now let's see how we're doing for change gears.
Box here. That size. That size. Laying them over each other to see what sizes they are so far. Make a nice little pyramid here.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 9 that have the proper sized center here. 9 change gears. And then I've got on the machine right now 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Got 14 total with the lathe. And then I've got the eBay ones. So I got to figure out what a complete set comprises and make sure I have everything I need, and then I can get rid of the rest. And then, alright, interesting. This one says Boston SB32. Could that be South Bend? He had a third lathe in his estate that one of his sons took, and I never did get to see what that was. I had seen the lathe on several occasions, but I can't remember what it looked like. No, I'm sorry, this is marked GB32. GB32. Sure, the 32 is probably 32 teeth, marked Boston. Don't know what GB is going to be, though. Do a little research on that one. This one right here, I tell you, it sure looks like a Zamek deal. Yeah, that's the right material to be one of these, but it's different enough. Let's see. Well, of course, the biggest problem is that hole. The hole's too small. This one's marked 3241, 44 down here. So it's a 44 tooth. The teeth are a lot smaller. 3241 must be the part number. No maker on this one. That's going to be for another lathe too. I don't know what that is actually. This one is just an itty bitty little gear with, again, no markings that I can see. On the magnification, Well, gentlemen, I cleaned this one up some, and it is clearly marked Boston on this side, just like this gear, but it doesn't say anything else on it. There's no number to tell you how many teeth it is. But I'll tell you what, yeah, it's the right pitch to match this one. So those two gears should stay together. I wonder if those could fit. Alright, so just a quick recap. Looks like I've got
2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
14 gears total that came with the lathe. The set that I got off of eBay has
2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9.
10 gears total. So, not sure if I've got more than I need extras for here or not enough for there. I will say this. This is the smallest gear that I got from the eBay hoard, and that's, interestingly enough, the same size as this gear. Then I got this really little one right here. But that might be the size of the gear that goes behind the big, I've got one on there now, you know, behind one of the big 96 tooth gear ones. So I'll work on that, figure that out. Alright, so I'm down here right now, and I'm going to sort out this whole change gear thing. I wanted to make sure that I had a complete full set of change gears before I decided to sell the extra change gears that I have. This is what I bought out of that lot on eBay, but I want to make sure that I have everything I need. So I did a little research. I think I've mentioned in the past that there is a Atlas Craftsman group on Yahoo, and people on there can be very helpful. They also have a file section, and in the file section I was directed to PDF file that they have. Okay, this is a parts list for the Atlas 9-inch metal turning lathe. This is a little bit later version than my lathe. This does not have the compound drive, and it has the newer style, the later style I should say. So you'll see right here, they're just showing a stack of change of threading gears, 9-101A. So if we go down to this part of the parts list here, we see threading gears, dial, and chart assembly. And then you see all the 9-101 numbers, and then the last number is the amount of teeth. And then it explains that on a couple of these we need 2. So if you just look at this,
you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 gears.
15 gears for threading. But here's where it got interesting. Now I actually don't see it anywhere in this pictorial diagram, so it's probably in this little stack right here. But what came up was somebody had pointed out the need for a 20-tooth gear. So first somebody thought that you didn't need the 20-tooth gear on this type of on this era lathe, but then somebody pointed out that you do need it, and the reason why it's not over not on that other list that I was just showing you is because it's actually over here under the lead screw and feed gear assembly. There it is right there, 9-101-20. You need one 20-tooth gear. And somebody pointed out that the reason why you need that, the reason why it's over here under the lead screw and feed gear assembly, is because it has to do with one of the feed rates. In other words, if we come over here to our threading chart, at the very bottom of the threading chart, there are 2 possible feed rates. And they both use one 96-tooth gear. And then this one right here uses a 20-tooth gear with the 96-tooth gear. So you need that 20-tooth gear. So 15 threading gears plus the 20-tooth gear for a total of 16 gears. Alright, so I've got 10 here, and then I've got 5 here, for a total of 15, so I'm missing 1 gear. I got to figure out which one it is. I would thought maybe it was the 20-tooth gear, but it looks to me like the 20-tooth is on right behind here. The reason why I say that is because this one is the next smallest gear that I have. This is a 24-tooth gear, and I can see that it's just a little bit bigger than the one that's behind there. So it looks like I'm actually set up right now for that that slow feed, the 55 thousandths. Because I've got the 96-tooth gear on the lead screw, I've got the 20-tooth and the 96-tooth gear stacked here. That's the 20 behind it. And then over here you got the 32 and the 64 in position A up here, which is, so that should be a 32 and that should be a 64. I'm just going to verify that. Alright, that is the 20-tooth. And I gotta take this one off because these gears are only marked on one side with how many teeth there are, and then they have these little dimples on the other side, and I've got this one on backwards, I guess you might say, because I can't see what it is. Not that it matters when you're running it, but you see these like, oh no, yeah, I just didn't see it. There's the 32. Uh-oh. Yep, and there's the 64. So I guess I'll just go right down the list.
Let's see. The first thing I need is one 24-tooth gear. Alright, so that's out of my stack over here. There's the 24. Next, I need 2 32-tooth. Alright, so there's one, and there's the other out of the stack. Next, I need a 36, and a 40, and a 44.
Aha. 36-tooth is missing. Because this next gear that I have, the smallest gear in the pile here, is actually yet another one of these 32s. So that actually is a spare. So here's my eBay gears. Let's see if I got a 36 over here. Well, looks like I don't have any 36-tooth gears. That's a bummer. 32s goes right to a 40, and then they get larger from there. Well, at first I thought it won't make much of a difference because the 36 over in this position is only used down here for 64 threads per inch, which is pretty fine. Problem is, it's also used on the lead screw in several positions. It's used at 4.5 threads per inch, 9 threads per inch, 18 threads per inch, and that's it. So I guess, I don't know how common those are because I'm not a machinist, but I do think I'm going to eventually want a 36 tooth gear. Alright, so we're going to skip 36 and we'll go right to the next three. Let's see, 40, a 44, and a 46.
There's my 40, there's my 44, and there's my 46.
Next I need a 48, a 52, a 54, and a 56. Ooh, I'm missing a 48 from my set. Oh, looks like at least I got a 48 tooth gear out of this one.
There's my 52, there's the 54, there's the 56. Next on the list is the 64 tooth, and there are 2 of those required. Judging by the looks of it, he didn't use that one very often. And last on the threading gear list are 2 96 tooth gears, which are over here.
And then of course there's the 20 tooth gear.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15.
And we're missing a 36 tooth gear, which would have been 16. So almost a full set. Which means I can sell these 2 96s, and all of these here, and I think this is going to be good news. There we go. There's a 40 tooth right there, and that's going to be good news for somebody, because I already got a request for a 40 tooth gear. Now I just have to solve the mystery of the this gear here, because this gear is clearly stamped a 9-49, which according to this chart right here, a 9-49A is a feed screw reverse gear right. Well, that's what this gear is on my lathe, the right hand feed screw reverse gear. This one, by the way, this one I can't find any markings on it. This one, which is marked the 9-49, has a completely different look to it. So there must have been some point in the history of these lathes where they changed this design. So I'm going to have to, if I list this on Flea or somewhere like that, I'm going to definitely have to take some photos and warn somebody, because I'll tell you what, if you go and search for 9-49 Atlas gears, a lot of pictures of this style of gear come up. So either those listings are wrong, or they use the same part number for 2 different styles. Now I used the end of my dial calipers there to check the thickness of these gears, because as I had mentioned before, there were 2 versions of the way these gears go. The keys and everything exactly the same, but it's a difference on the gear. I think on the newer ones they beefed up this area right here, so it's almost like a little bit of a hub that sticks up. And you can grind, if you get those gears and you need to replace one of these, you can grind off that stuff to make it work. Whereas if you have one of these style and you want to try and use it the other way, you've got to make a washer, but then you've got to deal with filing a little groove for the keyways. This gear is 370 thousandths thick. Well, it's Saturday. I'm going to close out this video tonight with a little quick hit and run about today's little quick stop at the flea market. Didn't spend a lot of time. I haven't even cleared off last weekend's haul from the top of the parts washer over here. But today we didn't find a lot of stuff. This was actually there last week, and I had contemplated it and passed on it last week, and I ended up going for it this week. I got this for 15 bucks. This is a Brown and Sharp height gauge. So the deal with this is this little thing right here is pretty sharp. Pardon the pun. And if you have a surface plate and you want to, let me just get something so I can simulate this. Alright, for the sake of our argument, let's pretend the top of my parts washer here is a perfectly flat surface, and it's a surface plate. So what you would do is, let's say I wanted to drill a hole, mark a spot to drill a hole on this little piece of steel right here. Exactly, this is 1 inch, ½ inch up. Well, what I could do is have this on my plate, set this height to ½ inch. Okay, so you've got a like a fine and a coarse adjustment on this, and basically what you do is you get this kind of in the ballpark of where you want it, and you keep this thumb wheel loose. This one's now tight, and then I can use this fine adjustment to really dial this in. And then depending on what tolerance you're working with, you know, how close you need, how exact you need to be. I could go with that right there and just leave it, got that set at exactly 500 thousandths, which is a ½ inch, and then I could lock this down. Now, if I wanted real accuracy, real high accuracy, what I would do is, I believe I would use what's called a gauge block set, and I would take out a ½ inch gauge block. I would put that down on the surface plate, and then I would use that to ensure that I've got this set at exactly a ½ inch. Once I've got it set where I want it, now I would come over to my workpiece, and what I would do is I would hold the workpiece, so you know, study with one hand, and then just drag this scribe, this sharp point right here, and I would actually scratch a line right there. And of course I could use not Prussian blue, I forget what the stuff is, but it's that, like an aniline dye or something, that blue stuff you put on there, the machinists use. And now a lot of guys are using Sharpies, because blue Sharpie works great, I guess, for this job. So you would use that, put the blue on there, and you would scratch your line, and then that should be a line, that line should be exactly parallel to the surface of the surface plate, and exactly 1/2 inch off of the surface plate. So a true surface plate's pretty expensive, and I don't anticipate getting one anytime soon, but in lieu of a surface plate, I'll probably use something like a machine surface, like a drill press table or something like that. And then I was thinking of maybe at some point going to one of the several granite stores that are around here that make granite countertops, the fabricators. They always have remnants that they sell kind of cheap. I was thinking it might not be a bad idea to just get a remnant. Now that's not going to be a true granite surface plate, but I bet you they can get pretty darn close. I'll have to check that out, see what people think about that. They had that marked for 25 bucks, got that for 15 bucks, I'm happy with that. Was looking for the spanner. You remember on the Hendy, I was dealing with that little collar with the hole. I wanted a little spanner wrench. This is what I wanted, but this is a big one. This is the only one he had, and it's not going to do me any good on the Hendy. But you know what? Got it for $1. Now, if I do run into that situation again on a big one, I've got a nice spanner. In his box of miscellaneous wrenches, all different types of open end, crescent end, combination wrenches and everything like that, all $1 a piece, fished out not one, but 2 machine wrenches. Don't know what they go on. They look to me like the kind that you'd see hanging out on a milling machine or a Bridgeport maybe somewhere. 2 different sizes. For $1 a piece, I popped on those because I figured, you know what? Eventually I'm going to get a milling machine or something I might be able to use them on. Worst case scenario, maybe I'll eBay them. And then, like I said, not a big buy today. Not too many items here. But also in one of his totes that he hadn't really had a chance to unpack and go through, dug through there, and part of the hardware store buyout inventory, came across these 3 Stanley screwdrivers. These are big suckers, nice big ones, and they're brand new, and they are Stanley, and they are USA, which is nice. And the 2 regular blade, big ones. They've got these this tape on them, but they're brand new. And these, the other thing I like about these are the square shank ones. And what I like about these is you can actually put these in a slot on a big screw, and you can grab this with a small wrench and get some torque on a screw. So these are $2 a piece, and I thought that was a real good deal. All right, that's it for now.